and it was reported that over 250,000 slaves didn't even know that they've been free for the last 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's about that time, you already know. Turn the speakers up, man, it's time to stop the show. John Tanner, Ryan Righteous, DJ Jeremiah. We bringing the heat, man, this joint be fire like, bruh. We in the field, we in the field, bruh. We in the field, we in the field. Just put it in work, we raising the bar. You tuned in to the Trackstarz.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Was good.
All right, for all things Trackstarz, make sure you go to trackstarswithaz.com. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you download the app and get some merch. Join the Trackstarz Universe. Just do the thing, all right?
Yeah, man. So, how's everybody doing? You guys good?
Yeah, man. How about you?
That's what we're gonna be.
And I don't know. Do you guys feel if is the stress level going down yet in the country, or you think it's still at the same height? I feel like I've been stressed for like 3.
I think we need to get through 4th of July for the stress levels to come down.
Why 4th of July?
Because this is a bit. So we've been having issues with the flag. We've been having issues with patriotism. We're going into Juneteenth, and then we're going into 4th of July, right? It's Independence Day for a lot of people. So I think we need to just kind of get past this independence time, this patriotism time, and then just start to kind of like cool down after that. That's what I think.
Speaking of Juneteenth, your president just decided to move his date. You know, he was going to do his first MAGA rally after the coronavirus on June 19th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you don't know why that's important, we're going to talk about that in a second. But he said that, I'll just read what he said. He said, we had previously scheduled our MAGA rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma for June 19th, a big deal. Unfortunately, however, this would fall on the Juneteenth holiday. Many of my African-American friends and supporters have reached out to suggest that we consider changing the date out. Out of respect for this holiday and in observance of this important occasion and all that it represents, I have therefore decided to move our rally to Saturday, June 20th in order to honor their requests. We have already had ticket requests in excess of 200,000 people. I look forward to seeing everyone in Oklahoma. So somebody got to him. I don't know who. I know who didn't. I know it wasn't Candace. But somebody tapped him and say, hey, bro, this don't look good. It's not look good. If you don't know why,
the polls.
The polls helped. Yeah. If you don't know why, people may be like, "Oh, this is not a good idea," you know. And it's oddly like, I wonder who chose this day and location. Stephen Miller. I wonder who did.
Most likely.
But if you don't know what Juneteenth is, let's start with that. So Juneteenth is a holiday. African-American holiday. It should be everybody's holiday. But basically, the Emancipation Proclamation was January 1st, 1863. Abraham Lincoln signed. But that message didn't get out to everybody at the same time, right? So what people believe is a lot of slave owners didn't want to tell their slaves, hey, by the way, I forgot to mention that you're free now, you know?
Yeah.
So that message, it took almost 3 years to get to every slave that they were free. So in Texas, it was
systematic racism, bro. Systematic racism.
It was Galveston, Texas, and they were people believe that they were the last to find out. It was a Union General, Gordon Granger, who rode in June 19th. Juneteenth, 1865, and delivered the message to everybody in Galveston, Texas, that the slaves were free. And it was reported that over 250,000 slaves didn't even know that they've been free for the last 2 years, right? So that's why Juneteenth exists as a holiday, is when all the slaves actually were officially free. And the year after was the first Juneteenth celebration. So that's why that date is special, right?
I'm gonna call off from work that day.
You know what? My job actually just made it a holiday, man. So I'm really celebrating.
And I think it needs to be a national holiday. It became an official holiday in Texas, I believe. There was somebody passed that through and got it.
But that needs to be 1900s,
it needs to be kind of like everybody's holiday. So now that's why the date was important. But what about the location? Those two interesting things coming together for your president. So the location, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it was known as Black Wall Street. So this is after slaves were freed. This is like 1920s time, and there was a area called the Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was several blocks that were black owned businesses. I mean, this is like city center type wealth was being built here. They had two movie theaters. They had barbershops and pharmacies and all kinds of like stuff. It was a thriving community. Like people had grand pianos in their houses. Like they were wealthy. Like they were doing really well. Yeah. So, kind of leading up to this was also a really intense area for the Klan. Like there's images of the Klan lining the streets and blah, blah, blah. So the race tensions were high and there was a lot of envy. Like, how are these black people doing better than me? And I'm white, you know what I mean? Like that, there was like how are they doing this? I don't like this, right? So the tensions were high. So it came to a head. Before that, 1919, a couple years before, across the country, it was called the Red Summer, where white people, Klan members, were killing black people all across the country. So that's what's leading into this moment that we're talking about. So May 30th, 1921, Dick Rowland, a 19-year-old, he was like a shoe shiner. He got permission to go into this building. It was called the Drexel Building. He got permission to go into this building, to use the bathroom, do whatever he needed to do. He went into an elevator, and there was a white 17-year-old elevator operator named Sarah Page. He was in the elevator with her. They heard a scream, and then both of them ran out of the elevator. They chased him down, took him to jail. They accused him of assaulting her. She refused to press charges, but they still took him to jail. The newspaper ran an article saying, let me make sure I say it right. They said, nab Negro for attacking girl in an elevator. Basically like a call to arms with all the white people, like, get this dude, right? So thousands of white people showed up to the courthouse to do whatever. I don't know. They wanted to lynch him. They were calling for lynching. So then a group of armed black people came to the courthouse to try and defend him, but a much smaller group.
75.
Well, a black guy with a gun and a white guy got into a tussle, and the white guy got shot. That caused a big issue, right? Of course. So the black people retreated back to their Black Wall Street area and tried to hold him off, but they couldn't. Came in thousands of Klan members. I'll call them all Klan.
1,500.
They came in and killed over 300 people. They still don't even know the actual number. People think there may be thousands of people.
Thousands.
They have never found the bodies. They were dumped in rivers, unmarked graves. Thousands of people probably died that day. They burned 35 blocks of Black Wall Street. They destroyed
30,000 homes.
1,200 homes.
1,200 homes, yeah.
1,200 homes, 35 blocks, 300 plus
blocks.
At least people killed. And then afterwards, they distributed postcards. The Klan distributed postcards throughout the country of pictures. They whitewashed the record, right? So they destroyed all the articles that referenced this event. They tried to hide. They buried this story basically all throughout the media. And but the Klan distributed postcards with images, and you could still see the images of the burned down houses, dead people in the street, everything like that. And they basically said that they called it, the Klan were bragging that they ran black people out of Tulsa. They called it Nigger Town. They called it Little Africa. That's how they were disparaging this town that they hated so much. And they used that incident to start this race massacre. They called it a race riot at the time, which was strategic because there's a statute of limitations on riots. If they would have called it murder, then these people, the people that were involved, still would be held they could be held accountable even till this day. So that's the history of Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's why it's so serious that you chose this day, Juneteenth, and this location to have a MAGA rally. That's why everybody was so angry. So somebody got to him. He changed the date. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I hate that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Right now, I was gonna say I hate the fact that it takes somebody close to him to tell him that something's not right, man. Like that. To me, honestly, I don't know. I don't have nothing to say, man. I'm burned out right now. Really, I am. I am. I'm burned out.
The next 4 years are gonna fly by.
I think that Juneteenth will be widely celebrated this year.
Yes.
I think that it represents a day of jubilation for us to, like, my job is saying, hey, we want to give everyone that day off to reflect on what that day meant, right? I mean, the story was that they had sent a messenger into Galveston, Texas, but he was killed, right? So it was like the Paul Revere riding in on horseback, and they was like, oh, you're going to tell him that what? And then they were saying basically that, you know, these slave owners wanted to get more productivity out of the slaves, so they left them there. And
they wanted one more harvest. They wanted to get one more harvest out of them.
The infrastructure to fall apart. But I can imagine that when dude rode in and was like, saw them folks on the fields, like, what's going on here? For real. But that just kind of goes back to the fact of even those African Americans, right? How far back they were behind everybody else, right? And so that's what we talk about when we say we didn't have a head start in this country, right? We had so much pushback for so long. That is living proof of why.
Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm done. I'm
sorry. I'm sorry. Honestly, I feel like that was progression. I feel like the racism of the people in that area, of the Klan and of other white people, stopped their momentum, because that's, I mean, think about it at the time.
No. I'm saying the fact that it was 2 years later that they found out about it.
You talking about the slaves?
I'm talking about the slaves.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about
Tulsa. They found out 2 years later than everybody else.
Yeah.
They were further behind than anybody else in this country.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, like, people still, even poor white people still think they're better than poor black people, and that's what that case was like I could keep these people. This is free labor. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure every slave master got a note that said, hey, slavery is over, blah, blah, blah. And they did not want to get rid of that free labor. And then two, get rid of that quote unquote authority and better than mentality than they was getting released. But I was about to say something about Tulsa that was progression, man. If you think about in that time, having 2 movie theaters, having businesses that's thriving, having the dollar circulating in the community of black people, and not leaving that community, that's progress, man. From back then. I definitely
wasn't talking about that. I was talking about.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the message of people, you know, saying even when black people were able to be successful, they were stomped out. You know, So that wasn't just a Tulsa thing. That same mindset was everywhere, right? Of just feeling like black people didn't deserve the same thing. So a lot of people are a little bit confused, and I've been watching, you know, debates between Christians, as I care about. And there's confusion over why this still matters. Wasn't that a long time ago? That was like 99 years ago. Blah blah blah. But what people are seeing and why people are so outraged is that we're still seeing the same things now. We're still seeing the same mentality. We're still seeing the same arguments. It's just amazing that we're still having these same conversations. I just watched Selma for the first time. I always heard about Selma. Somebody even like let me see them. I just never watched it. Sometimes it's hard to revisit those kind of stuff over and over again. But I watched it, and Ava DuVernay murdered this movie. She killed it. It's really good. Amazing. It's an amazing movie. And watching it, I think it was made in 2014, something like that. You would think she made it last week. It fits exactly. It sounds, watching what Martin Luther King and them had to deal with, it sounds just like what we're dealing with now. Yeah. And that's the sad part, is like the mentality survives all that time. We're still arguing with people about why this matters now, and this idea that, oh, you just figure it out, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like it's really difficult when for centuries my grandparents and parents were held down. Like it's not equal. So
go ahead. Oh, I'm saying which is a lie is that you pull yourself out of bootstraps is a lie, because in essence, majority of stuff from their side of point, like, and this is Dr. King saying, like, you getting government handouts to help you win. But then when it's our turn, or not our turn, but just when prosperity is supposed to help our community, it's like they're lazy. They don't do this. But like it's and what I'm referencing is it's a Dr. King speech where he's talking about that the government gave farmers and all these rural areas money for like
agriculture.
Agriculture and all this other stuff, and gave them money to help them build up their community. And for us, it's like, no, don't, you know what I mean? Like y'all tell us to pull up our bootstraps and work harder and all this other stuff, but you're getting help from the government, but looking at us like we're lazy. You know what I'm saying?
And stealing our boots.
Yeah. So now it's like when he ended up saying was like, this is like the one before he died, was like, now we're about to go to government to get what we rightfully own. Like, America, give us our check like we rightfully own.
Yeah. So where's the church in all this? I've been really impressed with what I've been seeing, even in the midst of people still arguing against the importance of this, black and white people arguing against the importance of this. I've seen a lot of our white brothers and sisters really paying attention, really digging in, learning. I said it last week, and I really still think this is an issue, is that I was raised. I'll say it this way. I was raised as in a Republican household, conservative, right? And I still consider myself conservative. And I think the biggest fear for a lot of people, white evangelical church, which is where I was raised at, the biggest fear is liberalism. It's this fear that you're going to become progressive, or you're going to be led astray, and you're going to adopt ideas that are those people's ideas, right? And that fear can sometimes supersede your own heart, right? Sometimes when you listen to these situations that come up, you're so afraid that you're going to be led into something that's ungodly, that you won't listen to it with your heart. And that's the one thing Jesus didn't do. Like, he didn't go around saying, well, I wonder if if the disciples are gonna think I'm such and such. No, he just did the right thing all the time. And this is not a situation where you need to be afraid. Some people are so afraid of liberalism that they're not even afraid of their own sin. You have to that's why I always denounce all these different parties and denounce all these different ideologies. Listen with your heart. What's the right thing to do here? Stop trying to stick on one side of the situation or the other. I see people becoming tribal, where it's like, well, if they think that, well, I can't think that. I can't think that way. So I'm gonna side with my people. I'm gonna listen to my people, and I'm gonna regurgitate what my people say and think. And because I don't want to be like those people. And if we keep doing that, we're not listening with our hearts and really hearing what God has to say about this stuff, I think we're gonna be lost. I don't know how to fix that in people's hearts, because I know where it comes from. I grew up in that. It's this fear that those people are taking over our society. So how can we overcome that? Because I am still concerned that there are people who are taking this as an opportunity to push things that aren't godly. How do we stay solid in what we believe without closing our minds off to things that may not fit our worldview? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. So I think to verify those people is not just black people. Like for some church folks, it's not just black people. It's black, Hispanic, LGBT. It's those things that's different from what they feel like biblically based is something that will ruin the country. So they, of course, abortion, of course, gay marriage. So those two things have always been in the way for people to say, I'm gonna vote this way, or I'm gonna change my idea this way. So if you get on a platform and say, hey, we're going to, like how Trump did recently, just defunding the whole the transgender situation. So now the LGBT is like up in arms. So now it's like, yo, we gotta definitely get him out of here, because this is nonsense. Right. So I think what it is
to do it.
Yeah, it could be. I think what the thing is that people have to understand that we have to look past what's you got to look at, and like Sean said, good and bad. Like, is this person making good policies? Is this person a good person? And sometimes people vote based off that, and sometimes people vote policies. Like, hey man, the policy he's putting in place, Trump putting in place, if it helps my bottom line, so I'm voting that way. Or versus somebody who's saying Trump is just an evil person, I'm gonna vote against him. We just gotta get him out. You get what I'm saying? So I think sometimes we have people now. You have some people now that are just automatically gonna vote Republican or Democrat, but then you have also people that's in the middle. Like, hey, I like what he did there, but I don't like the way he acts, so I'm gonna vote against him. Or I love the way he acts, but I don't like those policies, so I'm gonna vote this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Would you rather? Here's a mean question for Jeremiah. Would you rather see your policies brought forth, or the heart of someone, or would you be more concerned with the person's character and their heart toward people?
Well, I think the thing is this, and I always put it in as authority figures. As you think about authority figures, of course you want somebody great at a position, but at the same time, if you feel like a policy is better for the country, you're probably going to vote that way. But to me personally, and like I said this before, I'm just in the middle of this, but I feel like sometimes we vote just based off of liking somebody. And honestly, I think that came from Obama, because I don't think prior to Obama, we really cared about presidential people like that. We didn't we didn't care, like, yo, he gotta, but Obama made it so like it's almost like somebody scoring so many points in a basketball game, and then the next superstar coming out like, yo, I gotta beat that. You know what I mean? So it's just hard. And when you compare Trump to Obama, if you just talk about likability, then you're gonna say, hey, I like him, so I'm gonna vote for him regardless of his policies. You know what I'm saying?
And I think there's compromises being made both ways, right? There's people who are like, it's policy over anything, and then they vote for a man who is morally reprehensible and is only doing those things because he knows it'll earn your vote, which gives him the freedom to be a jerk, right? But then on the other side is you're ignoring what the policy is because you like the person so much, and that could just be a mask, allow him to do things that are ungodly. So what do you do in that circumstance? I will have to say one thing. I went to vote this past Tuesday. Did you guys? I did. But I think everybody that's in and out. Everybody's it was fast. I wasn't one. We're in Georgia, so if you guys heard that Brian Kemp ruined the Georgia voting process, it was fine. I'm in a
nice neighborhood.
I didn't know he didn't target my crib. I'll just say that. But you live in but it's growing. It's growing.
You're not in the city of Atlanta for sure.
I would like to propose some changes here, right? Last time we voted, we did it absentee ballot. So we had our laptops out. Me and my wife had our laptops out. We went on people's Facebook pages. We went on their websites, and we were able to say, okay, this person is this, and this person this believes this believes that, all the way down, all the way to the local level. It was a great experience.
It was dope.
This time we went in, to vote. I think that needs to change a little bit, right? I've done this before, but I haven't thought about it before. I would like to see, when you're at the voting booth, when you click on a name, for there to be some information about the person available for you to look at. Because what I'm afraid of is that people go in there and they just say Democrat, 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 or Republican, 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 Republican. Or me, I had an independent ballot, which it sucks. There's nothing on it. And it's like two names, and I'm like, okay, I looked up some people before I went, but when you're there and there's something else that pops up that I wasn't familiar with, I'm just picking a name. I'm like, what is the point of this? I'm just picking a name I like more. What am I supposed to? I'm pulling up my phone. I don't even know if it's allowed. I'm pulling up my phone. I'm like, real quick. Every article is like a 300-word essay on each person. I just need a chart to tell me what's what. It's just a bad. There needs to be more for somebody who is not all up in politics. There needs to be more information available when you're there, so you don't just Christmas tree the joint to just say you voted. Yeah, that needs to be fixed.
Well, they said that one thing was like, if you supposed to do your research prior to you getting there, but sometimes like one thing I don't like is when people just continue to win because they have nobody to go against them. Like you can see somebody's name every year, every 4 years. You be like, ain't nobody going against the person.
Half of my ballot was uncontested.
Yeah.
The heck you putting them on there for? You think there's gonna be enough write-in votes to
Yeah.
beat this person? It's not gonna happen. I don't even know who else is even even considered for this.
Yeah.
It's just a dumb pride. Somebody needs to sit down and like, okay, let's rethink this. This makes no sense. Do we really want to know who really is gonna win this, or we just it literally means that you're just a popularity contest. What name do I recognize when you go in there? That's really all this becomes, and that shouldn't be.
Have you ever stopped to think about the policies, the cycle, and how it's never ending? Like this is ongoing. Like I've been hearing my parents talk about the same policies and the same process since I was a kid, right? And here I am, I've got kids, and I'm talking about the same policy and the same process. Does it ever get stale for people to the point where they're like, you know what? I realize that this is such a distraction in my life. I'm not going to put too much effort into this or into that. Like, I'm not telling people not to go out and vote, right? I do believe in that. But what I'm saying is, do you ever get to the point where you feel like you're just beating your head up against the carpet and you're just stuck? Like, this is going to be what it is. It's going to flip-flop every 4 years, every 8 years, and nothing is really changing. Because the policies that people vote against are the ones that are not, no political party, no politician is actually looking to change when they get into that office.
Well, I think the thing is, when you have those local communities that, you know, why when people hear policies and things about to happen to their community, they go to those city council meetings. They go to those places to say, like, being involved in your community is huge. Like going to those council meetings when they say, hey, we're about to build such and such, we about to pass this law, and people come and go there and they raise all types of levels of HE double hockey sticks. You know what I'm saying? Like it just always just like, hey, we got to get this. I totally disagree with it. And like I use this for example. I know my sister, she works for the city of Atlanta. She helped with the belt line. She did some other stuff, and she would have like meetings because she does zoning type things. So she would go to like meetings with people and citizens of the area she's zoning in, and if they want to bring in like a Starbucks, or they want to bring in a movie theater or whatever, these people will come to this meeting and be like, nope, it's gonna mess up our area. Too many cars gonna be near my house. Nope, we don't know these people coming in, so we need to stop this. So, and she would feel that, and like at the time when I was staying with her, she would be like, "Man, these people are crazy. We trying to bring community, like we trying to bring money into this community, and they just stopping it." And these would be like not prominent, but like middle class black people, and they'd be like, "Nope, they're not. This stuff ain't coming in our area." And that's what we got to do. We have to look at those situations of, when we hear stuff is coming into the community, good or bad, when we hear laws are coming into our cities or our county, you gotta make a fuss about that. That's what people, when you make those type of noises, people and your councilmen start to know who you are. Like, Ryan is always here. Mr. Moore, how can we help you? I don't like such and such. Okay, let's have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you just go in and vote and you hear about something, or you hear a law in your county that's happening and you just don't care, or you just like, I don't have time to really deal with this, those things don't change.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah.